Hello, it's Allie here, and a reader asked me what diet I follow, so I figured it was a good opportunity to get my food philosophy out there. And before I get into that, let me just preface that by saying that this is my experience. I'm not a health practitioner. This is not medical advice. This is just strictly what has worked for me in my long years of experimentation in the past 4 or 5 years or so. And first of all, I was a meat eater in high school, ate a good amount of junk food with friends, that type of thing. That I do remember eating high sugar, high junk food, but was pretty in shape for a lot of high school, so I felt good and there weren't a lot of problems. When I came to college, I started becoming a lot more health conscious, and I was vegetarian, completely vegetarian for pretty much all of college. Um, yeah, most of college. For almost 4 years, I was pretty much completely vegetarian, and I felt good on that. I felt good, but I think there was always something missing. And then after that, I kind of went back and forth, and I started experimenting. I went back to eating meat for a little bit, and I was always eating dairy at this point. So I went back to eating meat. I went back to, eating more fish and stuff like that, and just kind of experimenting around. And then in this past year, as I've written about, I started having some skin problems. And so I started looking more to my diet and started keeping a food diary and kind of seeing what foods I didn't feel good the next morning, or really paying really close attention, because I think a lot of times, we get a stomach ache one day and we don't really connect it back to what we ate, and we don't really pay attention to what it is that made us feel that way. But that's one huge change that I've done recently, is I've been keeping a food journal now for the past about 3 months or so, and I've noticed some triggers. I don't feel good eating dairy, and that was hard to realize that. It was like, cheese, I love you, but after cutting out cheese, I have to say that's been one of the biggest improvements, has been actually cutting out cheese. Gluten, not as much. A lot of people will swear by cutting out gluten. For me personally, it didn't make as big a difference, but I did. So I must not have a gluten intolerance. But I felt lighter and I felt better being off it. It wasn't as drastic as cheese for me, and that's just me personally. A lot of people do have gluten intolerances, and you should get that checked out if you're wondering about that. Take a trip to your doctor and see if you have a gluten sensitivity or intolerance. But gluten is hard to digest, so I felt my digestion felt better. I felt a little bit lighter and a little bit more energized without the gluten. So those are the two things that I do not eat. Definitely those, pretty much from this point forward, no more. And I feel great not being on it. I added some meat products back into my diet, mainly fish and eggs, and I feel good on fish and eggs. And I don't have it every day. It's like a couple times a week most of the time. I'll put some salmon in my salad at work, or I don't have eggs in the morning. If I have it, it's in a stir fry usually, or it's like, things like that. For breakfast, I either have a green drink, or I have cooked oats. That's been my new thing, is cooked oats, and I really like that. It's been working really well for me. So I feel good with a minimal amount of fish and eggs in my diet, really minimal, and cutting out gluten and dairy has felt amazing. So that's why I say mostly vegan, because I don't do the dairy, but then I do have a little bit of meat products, so I can't say that I'm vegan, but I eat a very high percentage of vegetables in stir fries and stuff like that. I try to eat a good raw component every day, and I have not felt this good in years due to this clean diet that and just really the thing I want to stress is this is just what's worked for me, is mostly vegan, but like really the key is just listen to your body. That's it. Like, I'm not going to tell you what you should or shouldn't eat. I'm not going to be one of those people that says like everyone should be vegetarian. I don't believe that. I think some people feel good on meat, and if you feel good on meat, eat it. If you feel good without gluten, don't eat gluten. And so that's pretty much my advice, is just listen to your body. And I know a food journal sounds like a lot of work, but just try it. It's it really helped me, and it also kind of helps you stay accountable for a clean diet by writing it down every day. It's kind of like a little self accountability. But I found that when I ate dairy the night before, I wouldn't feel as good in the morning. I'd feel a little sluggish. And I noticed, and for those of you who know me on a personal level, you will know that I have always been a chocolate addict, okay? I found that chocolate was a huge, what's the word? Um, like set off my acne was chocolate. So that was really sad to find that out. Um, so I've tried cutting out the sugar. I haven't had sugar in at least a couple weeks, and it's been hard, really hard. But I honestly I do feel a little bit better, but I'm just so almost bitter about it because I love it so much. So I'll have to find a way. Maybe once I'm without it for a bit, I'll bring it back in more in moderation. But that was always my problem with chocolate was I could not have it in moderation. If I was having chocolate, I had to have a lot of it, and that's a problem. Like anytime you have one thing like that so much, it's just it throws your body out of whack. So I found that chocolate didn't agree with me, and that's unfortunate because I love it so much. But really, the thing that I recommend to readers is just listen to your body. That's it. It's that simple. Like, don't make it complicated. It's just listen to your body. Like, do you feel really sluggish? Do you get a stomach ache after a certain food? Then cut it out. Don't eat it anymore. Do you feel really rejuvenated after eating a certain food, like AKA your spinach or your kale? Probably. So keep that in your diet. So that's my advice, and that's a little bit about a little bit of my personal story. So hope that helps. Talk to you later. Bye.